Is joining a DSO the right move for your career and lifestyle? Welcome to Dental Talk. I'm Dr. Gary Glassman, and today we are tackling what really happens when you hand over the keys to your practice. With us is Dr. Ashim Goswami, a partner who made this journey, and Jamie Imeson, Dentalcorp's head of business development. Dr. Goswami will share his unfiltered experience, while Jamie helps us separate myth from reality in the partnership conversation. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Pleasure to be here.
Dr. Goswami, I'm gonna start with a question for you. Our listeners are gonna really want to know, why did you decide to join a DSO, and what specific challenges or lifestyle factors led you to consider this path?
Yeah, well, I decided to partner with Dentalcorp in August of 2022. I did so for a few different reasons. So one was I was feeling overburdened by the responsibilities, the liabilities associated with business ownership. That was a big one, especially post-COVID-19, when everything got turned on its head. I also saw it as a really great financial opportunity. Again, at that time, there were very favorable market conditions. And so I looked at it as a very unique point in time to consider partnering with a DSO. Also, I was looking for greater opportunities, career advancement opportunities for both myself and for my long-term team members. And as a solo practitioner, you sort of reach a ceiling where it's hard to know what to do and how to continue to promote your people. So those are some of the things that prompted the decision. In this, what I call the sort of second half of my career, I'm looking to make a greater impact on the profession of dentistry. That's sort of something that's an interest of mine. And so I feel like with my partnership with Dentalcorp, I'll have the opportunity to be involved with mentorship, teaching, maybe recruitment, things like that. And so it's just nice to feel part of something bigger than just when you're on your own in your own practice. Amazing.
And Jamie, what common challenges do you see driving practice owners to consider DSO partnership?
Yeah, I think you'll hear a lot from Ashim today, sort of on, I'll probably echo a lot of the things that he says, but in today's market, the complexities of being a dental business owner are just at an all-time high, right? Like, you're forced to be a great clinician, staying up on all the latest and greatest technologies and products and have treatment care that you can do for patients. Plus, you've got to be experts in marketing and compliance and legal and HR, and the list goes on. So I think similar to what Ashim is going to touch on today, it's a little bit of burnout, right? You don't feel like you can be the best you can be when you're trying to spread yourself so thin with all those different items of being a business owner. And I think that's sort of what leads people to have the conversation with a DSO. I know, for Dentalcorp specifically, we pride ourselves in all the people that are behind the supports that we offer and the constant sort of research they're doing on different items of the business to provide practice owners. That way they can get back to, providing good patient care. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Right, patient experience, absolutely. Ashim, one of the models of Dentalcorp is clinical autonomy. How has your clinical decision-making changed since you've become a partner? And can you share a specific example that illustrates your autonomy?
So my clinical decision-making, I guess, hasn't really changed per se. I would say that I make better clinical decisions actually now post-partnership with Dentalcorp. And what I mean by that is through access to continuous learning. I have the ability to, like for instance, not too long ago, Dr. Glassman, you had a course here in Edmonton. I attended that. I was able to pick up some great tips and tricks. Now I'm using the reciproc blue file for all of my endos and doing cryotherapy at the end of my endos for reducing patient postoperative discomfort. So clinical decision-making, I think, has gotten better. Post-partnership, one of the first things Dentalcorp did was they invested in a CBCT unit for my office. And that was great because we were able to incorporate 3D imaging into the practice, greatly enhanced my clinical confidence and diagnostic accuracy. Now with Dentalcorp introducing artificial intelligence into our clinics with their partnership with Vidya AI, that's also been a welcome change. It's enhanced my clinical decision-making ability, I guess, on a day-to-day basis, and for me to communicate effectively with my patients. So clinical decision-making has been improved, but hasn't really changed, I guess. As far as clinical autonomy goes, I think a specific example would be that I still get to order and utilize the dental products and supplies that I prefer and that I'm used to. And that's a big one. As dentists, we get very sensitive about that kind of thing. You don't mess around with our bonding agents and our glue. So I still get to use the glue that I like to use. And there's really been no restrictions in terms of my clinical autonomy. So it's been just as it was before.
Amazing. Yeah, you bring up the education piece, and it's amazing how education really empowers and encourages growth. And the fact that, Dentalcorp especially encourages technological advances, and we invest in technology, having that ability now with your CBCT to make better diagnosis, to get that second opinion from Vidya Health's AI, and then to provide better care for your patients with the new technology that you're learning, giving the specific example of the endo course that you gave. So thanks very much for that shout out. Much appreciated. Jamie, how does Dentalcorp balance network standards with individual practice approaches?
Yeah, it's a great question. It is a fine balance, right, Gary? Like, we're very selective in who we partner with. We partner with what we consider the best and brightest, people that have a passion for clinical dentistry, have a passion for providing good patient care. And so it's extremely important to sort of leave that like philosophy of the practice in place, right? How the patient feels when they come to the practice, the environment that the team works in and thrives in every single day. Those are things that we don't want to mess with, right? Where we really want to support is, having, guys like yourself or Ashim not having to be, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. after your workday's done, researching technology or researching the next patient communication software, or, worrying about the next days, not having X, Y, and Z or not being prepared, right? That's sort of the support that we want to offer in the background, because it is a fine balance. You want to leave the character of the practice and what's made it successful to date, but then you also want to enhance that, right? So Ashim makes a great point that, some of the things that he's doing clinically and investing in clinical education now, he just simply wouldn't have had the time to do right back before partnership. You're laying awake at night wondering about the next, leave that a staff member has to have, or turnover in hygienists or assistants that, he's got to interview 4 or 5 different people on all your free evenings in a week or on Saturdays, right? That sort of gets sort of alleviated, right, with the massive amount of support that you have. So, that is really what we strive to do is how do we take what's already working and what's working so well, and then just sort of build that up and harness it to the next level.
Yeah, it's amazing. It allows us to really provide our patients with a great experience and have that standard of frictionless dentistry, which I think is amazing from start to finish, when the patient comes, when the patient leaves, and following up with the patient moving forward. Ashim, have there been any instances where you felt your clinical independence was challenged? And if so, how was that resolved?
So no, I can't say that I've ever had my clinical independence challenged by Dentalcorp in any type of way. It's been a very mutually respectful relationship. So that's been good. I guess what I could speak to is the one change now that I'm getting accustomed to post partnership is if I want to purchase a big ticket item for my practice, a piece of equipment, let's say, now a business case needs to be made to Dentalcorp, and an approval process takes place. And so, with respect to clinical independence, before I could just buy whatever I wanted, right? Now there is a bit of a process involved with that. But my experience with that has been pretty good. I mean, to Dentalcorp's credit, anything that we have asked for that we need for clinical efficiency, replacing worn out equipment, whatever, has been approved. So, and ultimately that's the way sound business decisions ought to be made anyways, is looking at the dollars and cents and going through that process. So that'd be the only thing that's changed in terms of maybe clinical independence, but again, not a bad thing.
I think what you hit the nail on the head with providing a business case for it. As independent owners, often we become a little impulsive when we purchase some equipment, and having to make a business case and presenting that helps us put the brakes on and evaluate whether or not we really need that equipment, and if we do, how we're going to use it and implement it into our practice to be practical. So, sort of transitioning a little bit into career growth and mentorship, you talked about the ability to take advantage of DC Institute and all the programs that we have available to us. Ashim, what mentorship opportunities have become available to you in addition to the endo program that you took with me since joining Dentalcorp that weren't accessible before? And how do you approach mentoring your staff and your associates now?
Yeah, so lots of mentorship opportunities available now. So for instance, Dentalcorp has a mentorship program with the University of Alberta fourth year dental students. And those dental students who are interested in spending time in a corporate practice come and get to spend a few days with me at the beginning of the year and towards the end of the year. And that's been really nice. One of the added perks of that, I guess you could say, is that I'm now considered a part-time clinical instructor at the University of Alberta, which is my alumni. So that's pretty cool. Dentalcorp also just more recently has created a new partnership program again with the University of Alberta, but the third year dental students. And my understanding is that they get to spend an extended period of time, up to 2 weeks, in our Dentalcorp clinics during the summer months. So we've registered for that as well. Dentalcorp also has a program with the fourth year dental hygiene students. And for the dental hygienists, it's interesting because it's a hands-on mentorship program. So we have had a few students come into our clinic through that program as well, which has been nice because I've been able to engage the hygiene team and help them feel like they're contributing back to the profession. So those are the different things that we do in terms of mentorship now, which has been really great. Very easy to get involved. We just have to indicate our interest, and then they help connect us with the right people. As far as how I'm approaching mentorship now in my office, I think it's all about just trying to get people involved, giving them an opportunity to shine. So, for instance, enrolling our dental hygiene department and getting our hygienists involved with this University of Alberta dental hygiene mentorship program. I think in terms of mentorship for my team, one of the things I want to do is to make sure that they have access to good information and that I'm able to give them knowledge. And so again, I like to use DC Institute for that. Make use of all of the great online resources that are available to all of us who are within the network.
Amazing. And Jamie, from your perspective as head of business development, how does the DSO structure facilitate professional development mentorship across the entire network?
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple of things that, Gary, like I saw a really cool post on LinkedIn the other day from a practitioner, and her feeling is, as a business owner, as a dental practice owner, sure, there's the CE route, of constantly improving your clinical education and doing more when it comes to treatment applications for patients and things like that. But there's such a gap in the leadership knowledge of how to lead people and lead a team. And that's so important. As you guys both know, that's, actually probably 80% of the job of being a practice owner / practice lead, right? So, one thing we've done is obviously, like, you have to be a prop comic, but, clinical education catalog. There you are, looking all dapper there, Gary, in the endo section there. So obviously a ton of ongoing clinical courses. Like, I think we did something like 50 in-person courses last year. Obviously an array of CE online and things that are available to our clinicians and all of our team members. But we've also launched sort of a path to partnership program, which, that's going to empower our future leaders, right? Our young associates that, want to take that next step into clinical leadership, want to be that, driving force and direction of how the practice kind of operates on a day-to-day basis. And so we've launched through DCI a leadership development program that can go alongside some of this clinical education, right? So what I think is so neat about that is that, there's a lot of, students coming out of school. You guys know what the student debt is like now, like it's astronomical. houses and real estate are more important. You got to be a good spouse or a good parent, down the road and things like that. And all of these things require time and money and resources. And, if one thing that we can do is provide that fulfillment of being sort of a business leader without having to incur some of the costs of, buying or building a dental practice, that's what we'd love to do. And we'd love to empower our future partners so that we can take the next step with our network at the same time. So that program is constantly being evolved. We're in a really, really good place with it right now. I'd encourage any, team members or associates at Dentalcorp practices to check that out. And we'll continue to do that because honestly, that's going to be the big next step for us as an organization.
Oh, 100%. And Ashim, I know you've already discussed part of this, but maybe you can summarize this. Being part of something bigger, has being part of the large network that Dentalcorp is expanded your professional skills or opened any new career opportunities for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, wouldn't say it's expanded my clinical skills per se. I've always been involved in various aspects of dentistry and still am. So everything from IV sedation and dental implants to Invisalign and Botox, snoring, sleep apnea management, full arch, full mouth reconstruction, just kind of the whole gamut. So I've always been involved in doing lots of different types of dentistry. So I wouldn't say that I've expanded my clinical skill set, but through partnership with Dentalcorp, it has enhanced my clinical skills. So specifically, I mentioned your endodontic course was fantastic. Dr. Sam Malkinson, another great resource. I've taken some of his programs online and great surgical knowledge there. I enrolled in the Invisalign Jumpstart program. Even though I was already doing a lot of Invisalign, I still thought I would take advantage of it. And I picked up some tips and tricks and actually, I began making use of the templates that were available through that program, and that's made it's made me more thorough. I would say in my diagnosis and in my charting. So as far as has my partnership with Dentalcorp opened any new career paths? That's something I'm eagerly anticipating to see. What Dentalcorp has to offer. It's one of the reasons I chose to partner, actually. So, from what I have observed, Dentalcorp does an excellent job of getting partners involved, promoting them, making use of our skills in things like teaching and operations, the practice advisory council, et cetera. So I really hope that there will be a non-clinical role for me to play within Dentalcorp sometime in the future.
Amazing. So transitioning again, we talked about professional, how it's expanded or enhanced your professional skills and all the things you're talking about. And we can't forget about our very robust implant program that we have too, which is quite amazing. Now we're sort of looking at, settling down, being a little calmer, weekends coming, talking about lifestyle, benefits, work-life balance. Ashim, how's your work-life balance changed since partnership, and what specific administrative burdens were lifted when you became a partner?
Yeah, so work-life balance is much better post-partnership. It's been really, really nice. Now when I'm at home, I can be focused and present with my wife and children. And when I'm not in the clinic, I'm not constantly thinking about the clinic and worrying about the clinic and all of what comes with running it. So, basically I've gained back some mental space, some mental clarity, and that's been really, really nice. As far as specific administrative burdens that have been lifted from my plate, I would say things like payroll, human resources related matters, really. So things like, interviewing. Half the time you put out a job ad and somebody comes and somebody says they're going to come, they don't show up. So you're just sitting around twiddling your thumbs. You don't have to do that kind of stuff anymore. So, not having to deal with onboarding and employee reviews and terminations. I can still be involved in some of those things, but now I can choose my level of involvement. Whereas pre-partnership with Dentalcorp, I was my practice manager. I didn't have a practice manager. So I was my practice manager. I was the lead dentist. I was the IT guy. I was the plumber. you kind of wear a whole bunch of different hats, right? And you have to do all of it. Now I can pick and choose my level of involvement, and it's the work-life balance has improved dramatically because of that.
Were there any unexpected adjustments, good or bad, that you faced during the transition?
No, so I wouldn't say there was anything unexpected. Jamie and I had a very good and open dialogue, I think, during the entire process of partnership. So any changes or adjustments that were made in my clinic post-partnership were kind of already anticipated. I think the big one was migrating all of our patient data to a new practice management software. So that was a large undertaking, but actually went very smoothly. There was no major hiccups. The office didn't, burn to the ground. So it was fine. I think other adjustments, we had to reassign some roles to different team members post-partnership. We had to hire some new people for various reasons as we were growing and evolving. Those were all normal things that I think normal adjustments that happen anyways. Again, going back to the main sort of adjustment that I've experienced is maybe having to get that approval process for purchasing a bigger ticket item. But, again, not a bad thing, because as you were mentioning, Gary, dentists are very impulsive, creatures. We like to buy shiny metal objects. And
we certainly do.
We go to these trade shows and courses and conferences and we buy stuff, and that's fine. But it's better to take a step back, look at the return on investment for those things, and then move forward. And again, to Dentalcorp's credit, anything that I've asked for, they've been happy to oblige.
It's very funny. If you look under my desk, it looks like an Amazon store from all the stuff that I probably didn't need to buy that I did on my own through Instagram or what have you. My partners love to make fun of me with respect to that. Jamie, what lifestyle improvements do partners typically experience after the initial transition period?
Well, I haven't thought of the best way to say this yet, Gary. So I'm just going to say we alleviate some of the Sunday scaries, I think is the best way to say it.
It's great.
Actually, it was Ashim who said to me, we got together for coffee a little bit after partnership, and it really resonated with me. I've known Ashim for years, and the best way to describe him is he's an extremely passionate person, and that passion goes from all aspects of dentistry and all aspects of clinic ownership. And I think, when curveballs would get thrown his way, it would take a lot out of him, right? It would consume his thoughts. Like he said earlier, he'd have a tough time being present, in other aspects of his life. And one particular scenario that came up was kind of a key team member of his had to go on a leave. And, I as soon as he was telling me the story, I started getting a little bit nervous. I was like, "Oh, what's is he okay? Like, what's he going to say?" And his response to me was he never felt more supported. It was a practice manager who really had her finger on the pulse of the practice, and helped him with a lot of the major decision making and day-to-day operations of the clinic. And we were able to get him somebody that could come in and fill in while that leave was happening, and sort of set things up for her return so that the practice could continue doing what it was doing, and, get even to a new upper echelon of growth under her leadership. So that made me super happy to hear. Obviously, Gary, we pride ourselves in doing a lot of that stuff and, making sure you feel like you're supported, but to hear when it actually comes through is super special for me and for our entire team. I think as a leader of a private practice, you can feel very alone on an island at times. You obviously have, some of your schoolmates in your grad class that you keep in touch with, and, you bounce things off of here and there. But at the end of the day, no one is living those stressful moments with you, right? Nobody has the same vested interest as you do as a sole business owner. And to finally have somebody at your back who, has as vested of an interest in it, who really wants you to achieve the success you want to achieve, and can take some of that workload off your plate when things maybe do, not go quite according to plan. I think that's the biggest thing that we provide. And I've heard it time and time again that those sleepless nights are fewer and far between when you feel like you've got the resource of Dentalcorp at your back, which, that's music to my ears. I'm glad to hear that we can give some people some peace of mind and, a better work-life balance.
Ashim, here's a question that you probably answered, but this is a two-part question. Now we're getting into the reality, unfiltered reality of it all. What do you miss most about independent practice ownership, and what aspect of partnership has been most surprisingly been beneficial?
Okay, well, so you guys ready for it?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Business ownership served its purpose in my life. And, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in right now, which I'm grateful for, if I wasn't a business owner for a period of time in my life. So I appreciate it for what it was, and I learned a lot, but I don't miss anything about it at all. One of the unexpected kind of benefits that have come out of this partnership with Dentalcorp is actually networking with other partners. Kind of like to echo what Jamie was saying, when a lot of times as dentists, we just sort of kind of isolate ourselves, and we sort of just go to work, put our head in the sand, and come home to our families, most of us, and that's kind of what we do. And it can be a kind of a lonely profession. So one of the unexpected things that I'm quite enjoying is just being able to network with other partners, being able to collaborate and support each other. I think that's kind of a rare thing these days, especially in our increasingly competitive sort of cutthroat industry.
Yeah, it was amazing. We were in Halifax a couple of weeks ago. I was giving one of my 2-day courses, and at the end of day number 1, we actually had the students, the second, third, and fourth year students come in from Dalhousie, and we all mingled together, the doctors that took the course, the students that came in, and it was just an amazing way to see everybody interacting and being part of a bigger picture. And as you mentioned, we're so isolated in our little silos in our 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 operatories. It's nice to be part of a bigger picture. So this question goes to either one of you or both of you. What type of dentist thrives in a DSO partnership versus someone who might struggle with the transition?
Yeah, I think a dentist who isn't ready to walk away from the profession, a dentist who still has an interest and a passion for dentistry and wants to continue working. So I guess that means dentists maybe who are losing a little bit of that passion, or who are maybe burning out a little bit, but still have an interest in continuing to practice. I think then that means a younger demographic of potential partners, and that's different than the traditional model of dentistry, where a dentist owns their practice, cash flows from their practice for as long as possible, and then sells just a few years before retirement. So I think maybe a younger or young-ish demographic would be well suited for partnership with a DSO like Dentalcorp.
And Jamie, what do you see it on your side?
Yeah, that was very well articulated, Ashim. That's sort of what we're seeing. Our average age of partners now is in their mid 40s, and I think that's what it is, right? Is to get some financial benefit from the asset that you have currently at this moment in time, and then continue to practice to the level that you choose to practice over a long period of time. One thing I'll add to that is that Dentalcorp and DSOs in general, they're for people who want to continue being a leader, right? They're for people who want to continue driving, a clinical direction for their practice and make sure that, their business is operated in sort of the way they have created it to be and the way they want it to be managed moving forward. It's not for someone who, sort of wants to transact and then sit back and not have any responsibility. That's not really what this is for. There are, of course, avenues for that through Dentalcorp, through some of our different structures of acquisition. But when speaking about being a partner with Dentalcorp, it's very important that people understand that, as we touched on the top of the podcast, that your clinical autonomy is still there for a reason, right? We still want you to deliver what's made that practice so special and so successful over a number of years. And if you're not interested in doing that, then by all means, probably not the path for you. On top of that too, I think if you want to make sure that your team members have, sort of the stability of the environment you've created post-transaction, right? Somebody said to me even prior to when I joined the Dentalcorp, there's always this nervousness about change and what's going to change and what's going to happen post-partnership. And someone articulated very well to me and saying, well, if you think that there's less change selling to another dentist, like you're kind of dreaming, right? That new buyer is going to have a whole new level of motivation that, maybe you weren't doing something right or wants to change this, or, as Ashim said, wants to maybe take over some of your clinical schedule post transition. So, with Dentalcorp, obviously you have the latitude to continue to practice however you want to practice in the capacity you want to practice. And so, I think if you're interested in continuing to be a leader, if you want to maintain, the way you practice and how often and the frequency in which you do, then definitely you're tailor-made.
That's amazing. Yeah, for sure. Now, it's a great segue because you mentioned the impact on the team as well. So it's not just the doctor we make the final decision. Obviously, we're going to transition into a partner with a DSO like Dentalcorp, but we also have to think of our team because that's who we grew with. That's who we're going to continue to grow with and be stable with. Ashim, how has the transition affected your team and what's been their experience?
So, I would say the admin team and the receptionists are the ones who were probably the most, at least initially, the most affected by the partnership. And that's for a few reasons. One, because there was a new method of month-end reporting and different things that they needed to provide Dentalcorp with. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, we transitioned practice management softwares. And so while we all had to adjust and learn the new software, I think the brunt of that was put on admin, and more so than for those of us on the clinical side. But I think overall, the experience has been positive for the team. I've been able to promote some people within my office. Like for instance, my assistant, who was my treatment plan coordinator, is now my practice manager. So that's been nice. One thing that would be nice, I think, to see is for Dentalcorp to find ways to get the team more engaged. As partners, I think we get it. We get to go to the partner conference. We get these local, in-person events. We see the vision, and it's an exciting place to be. It's an exciting organization to be a part of. So I think, in the future, it'd be nice to be able to include the team in some more local, whether it's in-person CE or social events, so they get that same level of enthusiasm.
Jamie, what are the key benefits that practice teams experience when joining a DSO like Dentalcorp?
Yeah, I'll touch on a few things that Ashim said too. I think I completely agree in the fact that, career advancement is huge, right? That right now, working for a private practice, there's only so many positions within the business, that you can sort of ascend to. And, people that have desires from going from administration positions to practice leads, to practice managers, that pathway is there from an education standpoint and an opportunity standpoint. Even superseding the practice level itself and moving into sort of a regional management role or a director of operations role. As we continue to expand the network, we always have positions opening for things like that, for clinical expertise, clinical trainers, all sorts of things. As we sort of continue to advance as a network, those positions become more readily available. Obviously, we have certain benefits that come with being part of the network. There's an opportunity to electing to some benefits programs for, health, dental, vision. There's some discounts through some of our vendor partners like Good Life, Bell, Dell, things like that. What we're really, really excited to launch right away here, and it's going to launch in 2025, is we're launching an RRSP matching program for all staff members and team members at Dentalcorp. That's super exciting. That match is going to happen in the form of Dentalcorp stock. So, as we sort of discussed and Ashim mentions, making people feel like part of the network, hopefully they feel like they've got ownership and, some vested interest in how the network does as an organization. So that's super exciting. We're really, really excited to launch that. And as well as just, one of the biggest underlying things and benefits is that, they continue to operate within the business that they've operated in and the culture that they exist in, right? And, having, partners like Ashim and you, Gary, who you guys have created wonderful places to work. And we just want to maintain that and enhance that, right? So that's definitely one of the most underlying benefits is that they've got continuity of their positions for, as long as they choose to have them, which is great.
Amazing. It provides so much information with respect to the realities of becoming a partner and also the team, the benefits for the team, because together we can expand everything and make that better patient experience. With respect to being transparent financially, now, Jamie, without specific numbers, how would you describe the financial trade-offs in partnership?
Yeah, great question. So the way to think about it is that you're sort of liquefying, in most cases, in a lot of cases, sort of the largest asset that you have in your life, like currently, right? So you're monetizing the asset that you possess within your dental practice, and then you're continuing to sort of, participate in some of the added growth to practice, receive some financial remuneration as a partner via your associate draw moving forward, management bonuses, et cetera. So you're sort of taking chips off the table, for lack of a better term, up front. And then you're still participating in the success of the business moving forward. So the way I would think about that is you're sort of future-proofing your asset as well. We had a really successful launch and results with CDCP. I think everybody's very happy with how that ended up rolling out, but that could have gone a very different way, right? And, if it did, and all of a sudden we were experiencing, 20-30% haircuts on some of the fees that we're able to charge for some of the dentistry that we do, that could have been detrimental to a lot of people's assets, right? So, it's literally the old saying, bird in a hand is worth two in the bush, I think. And, on top of all of the operational support and partnership that you'll get, it's just sort of securing that financial freedom for you and your family and, continuing to operate the business that you know and love and, get remunerated for that on an ongoing basis at the same time.
Ashim, has the financial reality met your expectations?
The financial reality has exceeded my expectations. I don't know many people who are in my position, and it's a fortunate position to be in when you're in your early 40s and you're debt-free. What's the one thing that keeps most people up at night? It's personal finances. And what's the one thing most couples argue about? It's personal finances, right? It's a big part of our lives. And it's hard to describe just how drastically your life can change overnight with a large capital injection into your personal net worth. Now I have the available funds to make significant investments in the stock market and in real estate development, which is another interest of mine. So, as Jamie was talking about, yes, you get to get this upfront windfall of cash, which is great. But with smart financial planning, you can set yourself up for future success that otherwise would be unattainable or potentially unattainable. So I think that there's this sort of false narrative out there that prematurely unlocking the value in your practice by selling to a DSO is a foolish financial decision. I think that's really a false narrative that needs to be challenged because too many dentists have closed off their minds to the idea of partnering with a DSO like Dentalcorp, especially at a young or youngish age, because they're more likely to follow that traditional model of cash flowing from their practice for as long as possible until retirement.
So in closing, Ashim, what one piece of advice would you give a dentist considering partnership?
Yeah, so I think to keep an open mind with regards to the potential for partnering with a DSO like Dentalcorp. I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what partnership with a DSO looks like. And I think it's just important to talk to people who have partnered and to hear from their experience. It's definitely not going to be right for everybody. But there's too many dentists I feel who are closed off to the idea of it because of these misconceptions. And there's this false narrative out there that, DSOs like Dentalcorp are harmful to the profession. And I think that needs to be challenged, because my experience as a partner has been that Dentalcorp is doing whatever they can to enhance patient care, make investments in people, in equipment, in education to make things better, not just for patients, but for dentists. Like, this is a stressful job. This is a hard job. There's so many challenges that come along with it. So they're looking for ways to make things better for us too, as dental practitioners. So I think for dentists who maybe are burning out a little bit, but still have an interest in maintaining, their clinical practice and clinical autonomy, they're looking for some rejuvenation, reinvigoration, want to unlock the value for their practice, and look for career advancement opportunities for themselves and for their team members, all the things we basically talked about. I think it'd be nice for them to consider the possibility of partnership with a DSO like Dentalcorp. It could be the best professional and financial decision that they have ever made, because I know for me it was.
That's great advice. Jamie, what questions should dentists ask themselves before pursuing a DSO partnership?
Yeah, I think similar to what Ashim said, I think you need to go get as much information as you possibly can on what a partnership could look like and what a transaction could look like. We pride ourselves in being, the most flexible sort of offering in the market and the partner of choice when it comes to, healthcare networks and DSOs. And I think one size doesn't fit all, right? So we've done a very good job to tailor our partnerships to what you're trying to achieve. So if you're a dentist who's, simply just counting back the years of when you want to, retire the Explorer and hang up the handpiece, then that's one aspect that you should be asking yourself. If you're somebody who thinks that, there's another echelon that you can achieve as a professional and as a practice, and you just need some support from a partner to do so, I would ask myself that question. On the financial side, what does my future financial picture look like? As Ashim alluded to, would a capital injection today set me up and my family up better in the future, because I'd have more freedom to make some strategic investments that I'd like to make? And then simply too, what is your stress level like? What is your work-life balance like? If you do find you're someone who does feel like you're alone on an island, or you're laying awake at night worrying about, the next thing that's going to come down the pipe, that's no way to live, right? I got a 5-year-old son now, and I see how fast the days go by, because he gets higher and higher on my hip every single day. And, the thought of being stressed and, caught up in anxiety for 10 years of his life and missing all of that fun, that just doesn't sit well with me. And I don't think it sits well with very many people, right? So one thing I can promise from Dentalcorp and from our entire business development team is our goal is to be the most transparent source of information when it comes to dental service and dental partnership organizations and what you can expect. So I'd encourage everybody, reach out to your local Dentalcorp representative, have a conversation, find out what that partnership may look like, and find out what your options are. And, then if something, God forbid, happens, or, you just wake up on the wrong side of the bed one too many days in a row, at least you know what opportunities are there for you to go and uncover.
Well, I want to thank you both, Ashim, Dr. Goswami, Jamie. Thank you both for these very insightful perspectives on both sides. And today's conversation has really highlighted how the right partnership can enhance a dentist's career through a lot of different things: professional growth, preserved clinical autonomy, and probably as important, or maybe most important, improved work-life balance, allowing practitioners to focus on providing exceptional patient care. Now, whether you're a recent graduate or an established practice owner considering your next steps, I hope this discussion has provided valuable insights into how the partnership model can support your professional goals. Join us next time on Dental Talk as we address key challenges facing dental professionals and deliver practical solutions for thriving in today's healthcare environment. Thank you very much for listening. And Ashim, Jamie, thanks for joining us on Dental Talk.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and took away some valuable information. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe and share with a friend or colleague. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to drop them in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay curious. See you in the next episode.